And welcome to Crossroads Live. We are in Allen, Texas at the Allen Public Library, and we are here with Roy and Dale.
Isn't this awesome?
Yeah.
Actually, we're here with their daughter, Cheryl Rogers Barnett, and they are doing a terrific tribute to Roy and Dale Rogers. They're about to show some films inside of the public library. Right. And it is a packed house in here. Yeah. Just incredible. There's books you can buy about Roy and Dale. Cheryl is signing autographs. It's really an
And not
awesome
only that, Roy discovered Don Reynolds, you know.
And Don Reynolds
is here. He played Little Beaver in the Red Ryder and Little Beaver movies. And of course, my favorite guy in the world, Buck Helton, is here. He's going to be singing for the folks.
So again, you can hear the audience clapping now, so we're just about ready to roll the Roy Rogers film. So again, welcome to Crossroads Live, and we've got a lot of fun in store for you with the show tonight.
And it's so much fun being here with Dale and Roy.
That's right.
That's right.
Back to Crossroads Live, we have with us here Christine Coltenbach with Hope Cottage. And what's so special about Hope Cottage is Roy Rogers and Dale Evans adopted Cheryl Rogers Barnett, their daughter, right here in Dallas from Hope Cottage. Tell us what's going on with Hope Cottage today.
Well, Hope Cottage is celebrating its 95th birthday in June.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And when Roy adopted Cheryl, the story goes, we used to be an orphanage, and the babies used to live on site until they were adopted. And supposedly, I was just talking to Cheryl's husband, and he was saying that Roy was walking down the center of the aisle and was playing with the different babies, and they were crying, and then when he came to Cheryl, Cheryl reached her little arm up and grabbed his hand, and from then he knew it was Cheryl.
That was her.
That was her. But for 95 years, we've been doing counseling, education, and adoption services to the North Texas community, and I'm honored to be here tonight.
Oh, it's an honor to have you here too. And you know, there's so many families out there that can't conceive and would love to have a baby. How do they get in contact with you about adoption?
They can call us or email us, visit our website at www.hopecottage.org. And we would love to put them in touch with an adoption counselor, and they can start the process.
That's wonderful. Now, what if you're a young girl out there and you're thinking, there's no way I'm going to have an abortion, but yet I don't see how I can raise this child, and I want to make sure I can get my baby in a good home where they would have every kind of opportunity. Can those young girls contact you as well?
They can, and our social service workers are wonderful, and they counsel the girls through the whole process, and we work with pregnant and parenting women, and women who decide to place their child for adoption or decide to parent. So we're there through the whole process, and we facilitate the matchmaking process between the birth mothers and the adoptive family, and really facilitate them figuring out a good fit for their child.
That's what I want to know. How do you know the good fit? How do you know that this couple out here is perfect for that child?
The social workers, I've heard stories where the birth mother will be looking at adoptive parents' profiles, and they'll just get a feeling. And then after they set up a meeting with the potential adoptive family, and then they kind of go from there and see how that goes. And Brooks Quinlan, the director of programs, once said, you know, it's kind of magical.
Yes.
And there's just something.
The intuition that a
happens.
mother has, even if they've never been a mother before, knowing if that's a safe place. Is that the place for my baby? If I cannot raise my baby, is that where?
Because so much you hear about, like movie stars who go overseas and adopt children. And nothing wrong with that.
Yes, exactly.
But the thing about it is so many children right here in America
That
need to be adopted.
homes.
And so what is the deal? Why does it take a long time for, is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, our adoption agency, we allow a certain number of families to be on our waiting families list at a time. And typically no one waits over a year to be placed, to be given a child.
Yeah.
That's really not much longer than if you were birthing the baby
Yeah,
yourself with
right.
9 months. I mean, that's pretty fast.
So it's
It
like a
is.
year process.
Well, in every case is different. I've heard stories of some families, they come in and they go through the process, and a couple months later they get a call and they say, we have your child. And
Wow, that's great.
yeah, so it's just a case-to-case basis, and but typically not longer than a year.
About a year. I was just wondering from in my own mind how long it would take, And that's great.
That's
Because
fabulous.
there's so many children that need to be adopted.
Well, if there's somebody out there
Yes.
and they're thinking you'd like to either place your baby in a very safe place that's going to take very particular care with where your child
That's true.
ends up, and if you're looking to adopt someone and you really want to get with people who really care that you get the right fit and the right child, then be sure and call Hope Cottage. And
Do
that,
you have a website?
that
out there
website
that we
again?
Yes, www.hopecottage.org.
Great.
Very good.
Okay, thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for taking time to be
Thank
with
you
us.
so much.
And,
And happy birthday,
you.
I Hope Cottage.
Thank you.
as Roy Rogers would say to you, happy trails.
Yes.
And to all the little children out there that
Yes.
need a home.
Happy trails.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'm Colin Ray. Within the next 30 seconds, at least 3 children will be physically or sexually abused. We must stop this national tragedy that robs our children of their innocence, their dignity, and often their lives. If you or someone you know are being abused, call Child Help USA National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD. Call is free and confidential 24 hours a day. 1-800-4A-CHILD. You can stop child abuse.
All right, and welcome to Crossroads Live on the Road. Today we are in Allen, Texas, at the Allen Public Library. And I'm here with a young lady that I met last year, had the honor of meeting, Miss Cheryl Rogers Barnett. Welcome.
Oh.
Good to see you again.
It's good to be back.
Hi, good. I hear you have a brand new disc, a DVD that y'all have that you're going to be.
Yeah, we were really lucky. We did a show up at Brigham Young University, and it so happens that one of Dad's good friends lives up there. And after the show that we did, he came up and said that he had something he wanted us to look at that he thought we would be interested in. And it just blew us away. He had a wonderful interview with my dad that he'd done in the late 70s. Dad is so relaxed. They were really good friends. And Dad talks about his childhood and about how he learned to yodel and about forming the Pioneer Trio and the Sons of the Pioneers. It's just fabulous.
He had one great thing going for him. He had a fellow by the name of Bob Nolan who wrote some great songs. didn't he?
Well, you know, though, Tim Spencer was a great writer. And Dad wasn't a bad songwriter either. Right. So with all 3 of them, yeah, they did some great music.
Great writing. And,
yeah.
And your mom?
She was a really good writer, too. Yeah, of course, she's the one that wrote Happy Trails.
Happy Trails, yeah. Which everybody knows. Well, I was going to tell you a quick little story, my dealing with Happy Trails. My friend, we had a friend named Smokey Montgomery. He sang with the Light Crusto Boys.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Know that group.
And when he passed away, my friend Billy Jack Davis, who's a local singer, wanted to come on our show and do Happy Trails as a tribute to Smokey Montgomery.
Ah.
Well, the big mistake he made was he had me sing it with him. And so we sang it. Now, everybody, my crew said, never again. And we sang the song. He said I did well. But I went home that night and I made a notation. And in the note I wrote, Roy, please forgive me. So there you go, my little story on Happy Trails.
Well, you know, I was so tickled that Mom lived long enough to see that poll that TV Guide did about the most recognized theme song worldwide.
Right.
And it was Happy Trails.
Happy Trails.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And everybody loves it. I mean, you know, and it says so much.
Oh, it
you know,
does. It's a great
song.
song.
Says so much. And I heard that she wrote that because your dad, he always signed autographs, Happy Trails.
Well, he'd been doing that, I think, since before I was born, from when he first started making movies in 1938. And he used Don't Forget Smiles Are Made Out of the Sunshine as his theme song on the radio. And Mom thought that he should have his own because so many people had recorded that and everybody sang it. So she wrote Happy Trails for him.
Wow.
Yeah, for his radio show.
For his radio show.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they had the radio, Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, Ron Monroe, all these people had shows on the radio. You know, all great programming.
Yeah.
Of course, our friend Perry Como, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I heard y'all have a clip in the new DVD
in
with
the
Perry.
New, Roy Rogers in his own words. What we did, we took this marvelous interview that his friend Mel did with him, and then we added film clips and stuff to it. So there's just some great stuff in it. I think everybody will enjoy it.
And so is this going to be available, like people can order it, or they have to come see you?
They have to come see me.
Come see you.
Yes.
So that's the downfall. You got to meet Cheryl. No, that's the good part, folks. No, I think it's wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, it's because of copyrights.
Yeah.
We have permission to show some things, but we're not allowed to telecast it or to sell it.
Right. Yeah. Wow, that's
so.
There you go.
So Larry and I, my husband and I, travel around and do stuff like this at the library and.
So do y'all do any film festivals? Have y'all been to?
Oh yeah, we do Kanab every year because we only live an hour from there, Kanab, Utah, and then I always do Lone Pine Film Festival. Dad made his first movie and 4 others up there, and I'm on the board of they've got a really neat movie museum up there because hundreds of films were made up there. Yeah. So we always do that, and usually Santa Clarita Cowboy Festival because that's done on Gene Autry's old ranch. It's done at the old Melody Ranch.
Yeah. So when you grew up by the museum, the Apple Valley?
Oh, no. Huh? No. I was long gone, married, had all my kids before they moved up there. I grew up almost literally all over the San Fernando Valley. Dad moved every 2 or 3 years. Oh, really? And when I was little, I thought it was because every time he built all of the cabinets and drawers and shelves in the garage that it would hold, that's when we would move to another house so he could do it again. And not realizing it's because we kept adopting kids and we needed the room.
Well, the stories I hear about your father, he was a rat pack.
Oh, he kept everything.
Kept everything.
But it was wonderful. That's how he ended up with his museum.
A wonderful museum and everything. And Bullet. I love that dog. That dog, man. You know, I used to, as a kid growing up, I used to go to the movies to see Trigger.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, to go see Trigger and see Bullet and see Champion. And I was because I have horses myself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reasons I do what I do, I have a small place in Denton. Mm-hmm. And the reason I have my horses, I believe, is because of Roy and Gene and people like that.
Trigger always got billing above Mom. It was Roy Rogers, Trigger, sometimes Gabby, and then Mom.
Yeah.
Then Dale Evans.
Yeah. And the one guy y'all had, they had drove the Nellie Bell.
That was on the TV shows.
Yeah,
Sure, Pat Brady.
He was funny.
Oh, yeah.
A funny man, you know. But he was also in the Sons of the Pioneers at one time.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was. He actually came into the Pioneers when Dad started working at Republic. He came in as Dad's replacement. But he just didn't work out with the trio as well. He couldn't do the three-part yodeling that the Pioneers were known for. So he ended up as the funny man on the bass.
Yeah.
But see, Dad started out as the comedian too. Hardly anybody
Really?
knows that.
I did not know that.
Dad was the comedian of the trio and of the Pioneers. He loved it. I mean, he was a terrible practical joker, and he was really a character.
I would love to have known him. I wish I could have known him.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have. I'll tell you what, they're giving me a signal. They're saying we have to.
I know.
But anyway, I just want to thank you for taking this time to be with us. And because your dad was a hero and your mom was a hero to us. And the way they lived their lives inspired us to be better people. And I'm so honored to know you.
Oh, my goodness.
I never got to know them, and it's an honor to know you.
Well,
and Larry. I like Larry. He's a good guy.
Me too. We've been married a long time.
Yeah. How many years? You want to brag?
33 years, but we've known each other since high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that marriage might work.
I think so.
Thank you so much, my friend. Nice
Thanks,
meeting you.
Jim.
Cheryl
You made it
Rogers
easy.
Barnett. Thank you.
Thanks.
Today, I'm out here with my pal Danny Boy, and we have a message for you from the American Lung Association. If you don't smoke, don't start. And if you do smoke, find a way to stop. Now, we know that it's not easy, so check with your doctor. He'll be the first one who'll be glad to help show you the way. Now, for a better quality life and a longer life, stop smoking today. So, for me and Danny, to all of you, good luck, God bless, and here's hoping we see you at the Crossroads. And welcome back to Crossroads Live. We are at the Allen Library, Public Library.
Allen, Texas, for those people
In
who
Allen,
don't
Texas.
watch
For
this,
those
right?
folks that don't know, we are at the Allen
Texas.
Texas Library. There you go. We get it right here in a minute. It's been a long day, folks. And anyway, I'm here with Pam Seal. And Pam, you want to tell them who our special guest is?
Well, right here, if you ever watched the Red Ryder series, this is actually Don Reynolds, who played the part of Little Beaver. And he's here with the Cheryl Rogers Barnett, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans production that we had here at the library, which was awesome tonight. Absolutely awesome.
One of a kind.
One of a kind.
This was the best.
This
right?
was the best. We watched clips from Roy Rogers and got the history of the family and growing up. And Roy Rogers actually discovered you, Don, right?
He did for a fact.
How old were you?
I was 6 years old.
My goodness. And how did that happen?
Well, we were both in New York City at the Madison Square Garden Rodeo, and I was too young to do, they wouldn't let me work because of the child labor law. I was supposed to perform in the rodeo. So we didn't have the permits and everything, so my dad said it's not worth the effort. But I still had to practice and rehearse, and so in the mornings, after the ice capades were over, they would take the ice out and put in dirt for the rodeo. Mm-hmm. And so Roy and I and the Sons of the Pioneers would all rehearse in the mornings, them at one end of the arena and me at the other end of the arena. And he was impressed with my trick riding and my trick roping and my trained horse. And he told my father that if we came to California, he would get me the part of Little Beaver in the Red Ryder series. That was in October. In December, we were in California.
Wow.
Well, I was too small. I was only 6 years old and about that tall. They said I was too small to play the part of Little Beaver. So Roy put me in one of his movies. Eddie Dean put me in one of his movies, and then Roy put me in another one, and Gene Autry put me in one.
Wow.
Charles Starrett put me in one. Anyway, I wound up working 2 movies with Roy Rogers, 2 with Gene Autry, 3 with Charles Starrett, once with Robert Mitchum called The Red Pony.
Oh, wow.
I did a Lassie movie called The Painted Hills, and then I did 4 Red Ryder movies, which totaled somewhere around 14 that I appeared in. And then I quit for about 30 years. I stayed out of the business and raised 2 boys, and I got them through school and everything, and then I went back in the business, and I trained reindeer for Santa Claus the movie. I trained horses for Kate and Leopold. I had horses that for Lord of the Rings. I trained Shadowfax for Lord of the Rings.
Which is on the front cover of your
Yeah,
book here.
Right. And anyway, I'm forgetting now what all I have done.
Now, the first movie you were in, was that The Yellow Rose
The Yellow
of Texas?
Yellow Rose of Texas. That's the song they sang
Tonight in the show, and that was the very first time. So you had seen Roy Rogers at Madison Square Gardens, and then your rodeo, because you grew up in a rodeo family.
Yes, my dad was a clown bullfighter. He competed in 5 events, and before the 5 events, he was bareback rider, bull rider, calf roper, and bulldogger.
He was one tough dude.
Yeah.
And your mother wasn't any slouch either. I mean,
And
it's
she-
beautiful. If you get the book, you'll see how good looking this family is.
And she was a trick rider, and I was a trick rider, and then I did a little trick roping, and I did my trained pony act. And then my dad trained Bramer bulls, he trained buffalo, he trained zebras, he trained a whole bunch of different stuff, and I helped him nearly all the time training all these animals, so I picked it up from him, and we trained a lot of horses and stuff. We did a lot of movie work. My dad did especially. He was a very dear friend of Ronnie Reagan's because he did about 4 movies with him.
Wow.
And Lee Marvin's best friend.
Oh, was he really? I
And
loved old Lee Marvin.
You
And
see
Ronald
the-
Reagan, of course.
You see the horse leaning up against the building with...
Oh, that's up in Cat Baloo.
That's right.
Oh, you
My
gotta
dad-
see that movie if
My
you haven't
dad
seen it.
made the horse do that.
He did. Oh, that is so funny. The
But
way
I
that horse
remember
was
Lee
leaning up
Marvin
against the
actually
wall.
won the Oscar for that. He said, this also goes to that horse.
Horse, exactly.
Didn't he? Didn't he? He said that. Yeah.
And that was your father that did. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh, that is great.
And I love this in the book, you know, when I was going through it and reading it, you actually were babysat by a donkey growing up.
Yes.
Your parents would, whenever they needed you to go to sleep, would put you on top of this donkey. And then you would ride around until you fell asleep, and then
We had a
the
big
donkey
yard
would
there that was all fenced in, and she would walk around the edge of the barn, or the yard there, and when I fell asleep, she'd stop. And when I woke up, she'd start walking.
talk
So
about
she
a
was my first babysitter.
where do we get that for our kids today?
And I was about 8 months old or 9 months old, I think, when that was taken.
Isn't that incredible? Oh, I love this book. And what was it like as a child working on the Red Ryder series? I mean,
Well, it was just another job to me. I never
Uh-huh.
thought anything about it. People say, you know, you meet all these beautiful stars and everything. I never met a star. They were all friends.
yeah,
And I never thought of them as stars
Yeah.
because they were friends.
yeah.
I mean, Rex Allen,
Oh,
Roy
Rex
Rogers, Gene
Allen.
Autry, all those guys, and a lot of them that I never worked with that I met because I lived next door to Glenn Randall, who trained Trigger. And he did a bunch of other stuff too, like Ben-Hur and all those things. But the stars would come by and see him, like the Sons of the Pioneers would come over to see Glenn Randall, and we lived right next door. They would come and ride in our backyard because I had a big arena in my backyard. And, I mean, tons of people.
Talk about fun.
Yeah.
I bet there was some good barbecue parties
Yeah.
and cookouts and all of that.
Yeah.
And now, who again was it that trained Trigger?
Glenn Randall.
Glenn Randall, and I
Yeah.
guess he was probably very good friends with your father.
Oh yeah, he and my dad became very good buddies, and we lived with him the first year we were out here. In fact, almost a year and a half, I guess.
Now, was he the one that also trained Little Trigger? The one
He
that
trained
was.
Little Trigger. He
that-
trained all the triggers.
Oh my God! Because Little Trigger was actually smarter than the adult Trigger.
Yeah, he had lots of tricks on him, and some that.
I didn't know we were supposed to tell that. Are we getting in trouble here?
No, but some were unbelievable. Some of the tricks that he did, and I used to have to exercise him.
Yeah.
In the afternoons when I got out of school, I'd go down and ride him and exercise him. Well, he was very cranky, and you had to know when to shut up and sit down or whatever, because he would get very angry at me.
He
And,
would. Little Trigger
yeah,
would.
Yeah, if you didn't do it right. He was the first fighting horse I was ever around. I mean, he would come at you with his ears back and his mouth open, and if you didn't know the right cue, he would eat you.
Really? What was the cue? What was the cue?
Like this. That was stop.
That was stop. What are some other cues that the horse would understand?
Well, like Cheryl said, they had to quit training because there was every place you touched him was a different trick. And so you got, if you touched him on the withers, he would shake or whatever. You know, I mean, there was different places to touch him to get different tricks. So they literally ran out of places to be touched rather than tricks. So, but he was the most trained horse, trick horse that I ever saw in my life.
And he was in the movie with Bob Hope, the Sons of
So,
Palance.
yeah.
And I know because I remember watching that horse, and I thought that it was Trigger,
Is that
but
the
I
one
didn't
where
know there
they're
was a
sleeping in the
little.
bed?
Yeah, we was
With the-
sleeping in the
yeah.
bed and pulled the covers up. It was so funny. I mean, and with Bob Hope, I mean, you couldn't have had a better team than those two for that comedy.
Wait a minute, is that the one with Jane Russell? Jane Russell was in?
Can't remember.
Jane Russell, I think, was in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got so tickled at Bob. There was a scene where he's in there and Roy's playing the guitar singing. He tries to pick up Jane Russell, set her on the bar. Can't do it, and Roy comes over and picks her up.
What's wrong?
Oh, God, that was such a funny thing. I'll
Just
tell you what, it's late in the evening. We all want to thank you for taking time to be with us, my friend.
yeah.
And always love seeing you at the Gene Archer luncheons and everything. Thank you so much for being here with me and family.
Oh, yes, and if you
Great honor.
need to get a book, where else can they get the book? Where can we order the
I
book?
don't really have a place to get them except for something like this.
Okay, so you're gonna have to be looking for Don Reynolds, because I'm telling you, this book is awesome.
So I want to leave everybody in the words of Roy Rogers. Happy trails. And welcome back to Crossroads Live. I am here with a good buddy of mine, Mr. Don Reynolds.
How to do?
How you doing, Don?
Real good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You told me a story yesterday when we were having lunch over there about you going to California. Why don't you share that story with our audience? I just think it's wonderful.
Well, in 1962, I went to work for a private high school for boys. I worked there till 1974, and I had a fella there that I learned a whole lot from in the horse department. Every kid that came to school, their first year, they had to own a horse. And when I came there was 118 students and 78 head of horses. When I left, there was 240 kids and 174 head of horses.
Yeah.
And so we taught kids how to ride. We did camping trips. We did parades and stuff like that. Horse shows. Everything that you can do with a horse, we did there. And anyway, I worked there for 12 years, and my friend Jess Cale, who was my boss, he was there about 30 years. And they dedicated a big, nice arena there with bleachers and announcers booth and lights that we never had. and all that stuff. They dedicated it to Jess Cale, my boss. And so I went to the dedication, and it was really quite interesting.
Yeah.
But I took out camping trips. I took took kids to horse shows. We taught kids if they wanted to learn anything about a horse, English, Western, it didn't matter. We taught them. And all they had to do was say, I want to do this, and we would show them how to do it. Like I say, the first kids there, the first year there, all the kids had to own a horse, whether they were in the 11th, 12th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Especially the freshmen, they had to have horses. And we usually had 55 freshmen every year. So, they gave $200 for the horses. And when they got through, we deducted 10% for each year that they owned the horse. The school would buy the horse back. But we were always running out of horses because age, they get older and whatever, so we had to get rid of them. We'd have to bring new ones in. No matter what we gave for the horse, they still sold them for $200 to the boys. And anyway, now it's a girls' school. And I told them whenever they started having girls, I'd quit. But I quit before they started having girls. I quit the year before they had them. But anyway, and it's still going, and it's the only school in the United States, high school, that has a horse program. And it makes them very unique, and it's just a great place to be. And especially for me, for 12 years, I just enjoyed the heck out of it. So.
Why don't you tell the folks out there the saying that your boss had about the horses?
Oh, the owner, the originator, founder of the school, he said that there was something good about the outside of a horse that helps the inside of a boy.
I love that. That is wonderful. Yeah.
And it did. We had people, like I say, from all over the world go to school there. Some very rich people, kids went there, and they learned the basic things, and they could advance as far as they could, and we helped them, and whatever they wanted to do, we would show them how to do it. We had horse training schools, we had horseshoeing school, we had training and all that stuff. Whatever they wanted to get into, we taught it, and they're still doing the same thing now. And it was founded in 1898.
Wow, that's
no,
great.
I'm sorry, 1889. Because while I was there, we had our 100th anniversary.
Oh, wonderful!
And so it was quite an experience, and it's still one of the greatest schools in the United States. And whenever they come out of Thatcher School, they could pick any university they wanted to go to.
Really?
Yeah.
So actually, the reading and the writing and arithmetic and all that came along with the horses.
Oh yeah, they had to pass all that, and once if they graduated from Thatcher School, they had the grades and stuff. They could go to any university in the United States if they wanted to. So
that's great.
It was a high accredited school, still is.
Wow.
And so anyway, that was an interesting 12 years of my life.
Oh, sounds great. Sounds like a great way to live.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Because I know it's only on a small scale compared to what you were doing. But we have a little 13.5-acre place up here where we keep our horses. Well, I only have one now because one passed away last year. And but anyway, we have a thing where the kids learn to run the poles and run the barrels and do jumping and stuff.
Did all that.
And I watch these kids, and my horse passed away last Thanksgiving. My horse, Danny Boy, that I rode. Well, anyway, it happened that everybody had horses out there was there. And people were crying, and I'm going around trying to console everybody about my horse. And it was my horse that died.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, I said, look, this horse lived a great life. He was in movies, he was on television, he was in rodeos, he was in parades, and he loved going on trail rides, and he loved the lake. And so
he had everything in
life. He had
that
everything in life a horse could
That's
want,
right.
And he had my love. So there you go. And so, but anyway, I wanted to take this time to talk to you about that. And I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to have Mr. Bug
Good.
the big man come up and have some conversation with you. Y'all going to talk some cowboy talk.
Right.
All right. And we'll be right back with more from Crossroads Live and Don Reynolds.
Thank you.
Howdy, folks. My name is Jim Hoffpauer. But today I'm out here with Danny Boy, out here at the Crossroads Ranch. My request is this. Have you signed up to be an organ donor? And have you talked this over with your loved ones so that they know your desires? That is a gift that only you and God together can give to those in need. So, till we meet again, good luck, God bless, and we'll see you at the Crossroads. Let's go, Dan.
Welcome back to Crossroads Live. This is the old saddle pal, Buck the Big Man, and I'm here with the last little beaver, the little brown jug himself, Don Reynolds, who's had an absolutely fascinating career and has literally wrote the book on things related to horses and training and movies and television. And why don't you tell them a little bit about that and where they can get it?
You can get it from me at 368 Hack Street, Bowie, Texas, 76230. Don Reynolds, and it's $25 plus postage.
And it's worth every penny. It's called The Last Little Beaver. And we've had some interesting folks on our show, like my buddy Bob Terry. The Terrys are the only U.S. manufacturer of the old-fashioned die-cast cap guns. And also, does Bob still have any of those double sets for sale?
I have no idea.
We'll have to pester him and find out. And say, everybody from the Christmas Story onwards has wanted a Red Ryder BB gun. Well, a few years ago, for the, 50th anniversary?
No, it was just
because they wanted to make money.
Yeah.
Okay. Daisy put out an extremely limited double set. They had a Red Ryder BB gun and a Little Beaver BB gun.
They made 1,500 sets, limited edition.
That's right. And our buddy Bob Terry, last I talked to him, still had 3 of them left.
I've got 4.
You've got 4. So if you like one of them things, and if you don't want to feel like pestering Bob, pester Jug, and he'll be glad to sell you one. And do you still put in that DVD of Red Ryder and Little Beaver movies?
Yeah.
And you have got to see him on this crazy dismount from Papoose. Darndest thing I have ever seen in my life. Jumps up, walks across the back of 4 horses like they was an escalator, and then hops down. And why did you do that?
Well, they had, we all rode up to a hitching rail.
Mm-hmm.
And I, of course, was at the end, and so it took me a while to get around, and Red Ryder was standing here waiting on us to get up there. And he wanted to know if there was any way that I could get there sooner, because everybody gets there, and then I'm the last one there.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only thing I could think of was to walk across the horses. And he said, let's see it. So we rode up, I walked across the horses, and I'm right there at about the same time that the other 2 people get there with Red waiting on us. So he liked it and used it twice in the movie. So
it was an awfully neat dismount, and I guess that's because he wanted to leave his engine running.
Yeah, I guess.
And Donna's also a fantastic animal trainer. If you've ever seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that great big gorgeous critter in there that rode down the doors when they're chasing the orcs or whatever it was. And how did you teach him to do that?
Well, I taught him against a wall, and he would rear up and he would hit the wall and stand there.
Ah.
And then whenever we got ready to do the shot, we had doors there. So whenever he hit the doors came open and the key came down.
And were you playing Jerry Jeff Walker in the background?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, you're up against the wall, so
Yeah.
you'd figure. And Don, tell me some of the things that you're running around all over the place with all these different festivals. You were at the Gathering of the Guns in Memphis and several others. Where are you going to be next?
I haven't got a clue. I never know.
Who do you think you are, me?
I just get up and go when I feel like it. That's the nice thing about being retired.
And say, well, this is true. There's all kind of benefits, but the pay sucks.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And say, we do want to make sure, we're not sure exactly when this show will air. If you are going to be around Will Rogers in January, make sure that you come out to Cowboy Campfire Tales. Jug will be out here with us again. And we will find out what that off-sound disturbance was here after a while. We may have to scalp somebody, which is a good thing because John brought his hoof chisel with him, which looks like the world's smallest Tommy hatchet.
Yeah.
And also, can folks get in touch with you if they would like some equine advice?
If they can get a hold of me, because I'm hardly ever home. I try to be gone as much as I can.
And say, well, I can understand that. And it has sure been a great time visiting with you here today. And we want to thank you for stopping in at the second annual Spirit of the Cowboy. Do you have a website?
No.
You don't? Why not?
I don't know anything about computers, and I just kind of stay away from them.
Say, for
I'm too old to learn.
They have them that are steam powered now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, abacus. You can use all four limbs and 20 toes and three legs and 2 arms, and that's about what they cost.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for stopping in, and
thank you for having me.
We can't give you a website address on account of he doesn't have one. But in the meantime, I think we're gonna hit a PSA in here before we go to a commercial break. So y'all stay right where you are, and we will be right back with more great guests from the Spirit of the Cowboy at Chestnut Square.
So, till we meet again, good luck, God bless, and we'll see you at the Crossroads. Let's go then.